What's up, guys? Welcome to the fourth episode of the podcast when I'm joined by my guest and property developer, Joshua Kwentoh. How's it going, mate?
Oh, I'm good. How you doing, Buck?
I'm great. Honestly, like, I've been excited to have you on because I know you're doing big things in the property space. So I was just here to find out about your story and what your goals are for the future.
All right, big things. Yes, we want to make it bigger because when you work with folks that are 20 steps ahead of you, you find out that what you're doing is insignificant. That's why most of the time, most people tell, "Oh, you're doing something big." I'm like, okay, I'm not. All right, let me put it this way, because I've got my spiritual bit is the bit that keeps me focused on not looking at it from a perspective like I'm the one doing it. I'm more or less relying on God and being used to actually fulfill His purpose. So His purpose being that He wants me to be able to be deep rooted in the youth, and this is just me using the property as a way to get to it, more or less. So I'm looking at it from a perspective like this is an opportunity for me to be able to spread the word, and how best to do it, but to just instill it in the folks that are in their 20s or in their late teens. Because I had a conversation with a vicar 2 days ago, and he was complaining about, not necessarily complaining, was saying that most kids in their 20s or their late teens, the Gen Zs, are not interested in anything to do with church. So I was saying to him, okay, I think this really works with what I'm trying to do. So I told him what I was doing. He was like, wow. I'm like, just keep praying for me. just keep praying for me because I need the praise. You know, I need the good vibes, praise, whatever folks actually do. But I need all the spiritual support from him just to be able to get to this goal, because this goal is quite is dear to my heart. More or less, like I've got my missus that's actually a very supportive missus, especially when you're doing things like this, because your emotions go up and down.
Yeah, I can imagine, honestly. But before... Yeah. Oh, sorry, carry on.
Like I said, the emotions just go up and down, more or less. So I kind of move whenever my emotions dip. I just got the message it's reminding me, just telling me that it wasn't going to be easy anyway. But you've got this. You've got this. Just keep going. You've got this. Sometimes it's easier to do stuff that you already know, but it's tougher, and it brings out the best of you when you actually push yourself forward to do stuff that is out of your comfort zone.
Oh, 100%, because then you can only grow from the experience and the newfound knowledge that you've gained.
Most definitely. That's what we're pushing for, growth. You know, so I'm a sucker for that.
So if we take it back a little bit, where did your journey start? How did you pick property development? What made you decide to
How would I put it now? Because I've been in my first property, because I relocated to the UK when I was 19. That was 96. So I kind of I got into university. We were all living in rooms, HMO, more or less, I put it that way. I was back in those days, you never needed a license. So I was renting a room in a big house somewhere in northwest London. The key thing was that when I got into university, I was just giving out money, giving out grants to go to school. I'm like, what? I'm getting money to go to university. So more or less, I just said to my moms, you know what? Let's put money together so we can buy a property. So that was how I got all my student loan, student grant, put it all together with my brothers and my mom, and we bought a property. So that was 2 years after I was in the country. So it was kind of like, it was like, okay, that's a big ship, so I can do this. You know, my name was on the mortgage. I was like, whoa, that's brilliant. You know,
so you guys went straight into it, like.
I'll put it this way. Back in those days, it was easy. I wouldn't say it was easier to get a mortgage, but you get what I'm saying? You just needed a bit of money. I think we put about 10% down. Funny enough, the property was about 90K. Back then, you can't get properties like that. I mean, in London, that was about 90K. So it was quite a big chunk, having to put about 9K together. I think it was, about 9K together, and everything was just expensive. So by the time we put it all together and just bought that was just an eye-opener for me. So it gave me a different buzz. So more or less, back then, even if you buy new builds, I went into buying new builds. Even if you buy new builds, the next day, really the price has gone up. So that was what we did. And then I started selling it. I didn't have like a mentor to know how to manage things right, to do things right. So I kind of like lost my way, started doing other things. And but I still had it at the back of my mind. Because
do you still have that property by any chance?
The family, yes. Family property, yes.
Family, okay,
The ones I got for myself, I sold them. You know, so it kind of like it gave me the confidence to start going, because at 21 I already bought one. So it was like, okay, you can do this. You know, it's not really.
You've already done it.
It's not a big man thing. You know what I'm saying? It's more or less like just move. You got this. You know, so it's like it gave me that drive to keep going. But after a while, I kind of like dropped off, went into, because I studied IT and business, so more or less I went into the web development thing, started running my business from there. I worked for a bit, didn't just like the job. Of office politics, I couldn't deal with it.
Oh man, do you mind me asking, where did you work before you got into it?
Oh, right. Okay. I've done every sort of job. Security job, I've done care work, I did everything just to get by. You know what I'm trying to say? So just like it was back then. Then I went into project management. Learned a bit about that. Worked for a bit, but I was frustrated. I had my kids back then. I think 2005. I had my daughter then. It wasn't just really working for me. Had my boy a year later. I was like, oh man, I come back drained, I come back upset. You know what I'm trying to say? So it wasn't really something that I was happy to do. You know what I mean? So it kind of like pushed me into having to deal with the, you know what, I'm going to do my affiliate marketing stuff. I started that. It was working. My first $100, it was... Oh man, it was off the hook. Yeah, my first $100, I was like, no way. So you can literally make money online. You know,
you proved the concept for you.
Yes, in fact, my first dollar. If you saw me, you would have thought, oh, this guy just made 100 G's. Man, it was $1. My missus used to look at me like, this guy is weird. You know, you left your job just to get excited over $1. I'm like, this is working. You know what I'm saying? But
it was like a proof of concept for you, so you knew where it would go.
Exactly. So I said, you know what? Now my entrepreneurial journey has started. I've got to do whatever it takes. You know, it took me a while. I got into creating some information products. It worked. Then it kind of like I didn't have the right management in place, because everything just didn't continue working the way it was. So I went into servicing clients, which became way better than in creating the product. So I kind of like, I've gone through all that process, and pandemic hit us. So I was like, nah, this is time. You know, it brought us a bit closer. I started having a chat with my kids more because we were all stuck at home. So I had to now start talking to them. Then my boy said to me, Daddy, I want to be an architect. I was like, you know what? I think I've talked about this property thing, never got into it. You know, I think it's about time now I get into this. You know,
yeah.
So it was that actually got everything started.
This episode was sponsored by Dragon Estates. Now, if you're looking to grow your money through property or get more of a return than you are getting at the bank, then don't hesitate to contact me on the website dragonestates.co.uk or message me on LinkedIn or Instagram, and then we can talk about ways that I could help you grow your money through property.
Funny enough, had an ad showing on Instagram and that, and I was like, I don't want to buy single properties. I love the idea of owning a block. So a couple of man like what's he called, Anthony Lavelle.
Yeah.
He was doing stuff as well. I saw him on Instagram. I'm like, whoa, you know, it's kind of like difficult to see people like that look like you doing big stuff. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It's like, it was like, oh, this brother is doing this. You know, you know what? I'm going to do this. I just made up my mind. You know what? I don't care what it takes. I'm going to do whatever it takes because just that's the way my mind is really. So kind of like I said, you know, I had all the doubts whether it was going to be possible. No, no experience and all that stuff. But I was more or less like zoomed in. I'm going to do whatever it takes to just make this happen, you know. And you know what? You got your kids. I've already said to them, I'm doing this. You don't want to film in front of the kids, man. You get what I'm saying?
100%. You can't accept that. You got to do whatever it takes.
And you can't back off no more. I already said it. You know, I already said it. So you more or less like I had to just push myself. You know, and that's. I
was going to say, isn't that a bit difficult, like jumping straight into going from large blocks instead of just going for single properties at a time?
Yo, life is already difficult.
Yeah, true.
Life is already difficult. So we might as well take the most difficult stuff and deal with it. You know what I'm trying to say? So instead of taking the little stuff and then we know it's going to still be difficult, it's the same energy, you might as well just get into the bigger stuff. And I'm looking at myself like, I'm already in my 40s. You know, realistically, you know, I might be able to do double of what I am now. So I haven't got that much time now. You know what I'm trying to say? So I'm starting seeing in my mind like, you know, before you know it, the next 10 years I'm in my 50s. I can't be doing this. I can't be playing little games. You know what I'm saying? So it was just more or less like, you know what? I'll do whatever it takes. You know, if I've got to partner up with someone, if I've got to do what, you know, get myself out there and just push myself beyond what I can do, which I've always been doing anyway. You know, I've always been that sort of person, thinking bigger. You know, I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I always had big dreams. You know, so it was more or less like I just had to make this happen. So having a mentor and spending a lot of money. Spending a lot of money on my education. Did
you go on education? Like,
yeah, man. I spent, in fact, just being honest with you, I spent a lot of money on so many mentorship programs. So far, I think I've spent about 30 G's. You know,
wow.
But it's an investment. I started seeing it more like an investment. As well. You know, I don't want to just, you know what, you've got money to put in, you know, and then you lose all that money because you didn't have the experience. I didn't want to go through that. And if I'm trying to do something bigger, you know, I had to just scrape by, get everything that I had, you know, just put it forward, you know, just to be able to just get this going. And to be honest with you, it felt like, man, you could do much better with that money somewhere else. But I just kept on reminding myself, like, I'm looking for 7-figure profits. So
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is
You
just
don't want to mess up 7 figures.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? So
because you didn't want to spend. Yeah,
do you get what I'm saying? So it was more or less like just keep going, keep going. It took me about 2 years to get one deal. In fact, I had a couple of deals that fell through. It was a learning process, and normally people would say, "Oh, that's failure." But failure is when you don't get up. You fall and you don't get up. So everything else is a learning process. So I saw it more like a learning process for me. In fact, my mindset was like, you know what? I've lost more money than this anyway. So time is money. So every time I'm losing, I equate it to money. So if I'm losing time and I'm looking at it like from 98 to now, I've not really got that big. I've already lost all them years, and that's money. That's currency to me.
You've got experiences in that time, though, that could help you in the future.
Yes, but, you know, at the end of the day, when you've got those gaps, it affects who you are. And if you've not actually gone ahead to actually implement it, it's not necessarily an experience. It's life experience, yes, but you haven't got that property experience to actually now go, okay, I'm going to take it very deep. I'm going to go to the deepest waters to see how far I can go. You know what I'm trying to say? And I'm more or less like, you know what, let's go into the deepest waters, you know. And the idea here was that it wasn't my goal. I wanted to take on a challenge that was bigger than me. So I knew that for me to get by, being someone that is a follower of Christ, I've decided that I wanted to do stuff that was beyond me. I wanted to be used, positioned to make all this stuff happen, not necessarily me setting a goal, because if it was my goal, I would have been very comfortable. Go get a house, get a couple of houses, 50K, 60K, you can get that going with that. But I didn't want that. You know, I was more or less like, in my mind, I was thinking, if I'm going to play catch up, I'm going to play catch up in a way where I'm going to take
big numbers.
And I'm going to take, it's going to be more or less like me not relying on my own strength, but relying on my spiritual strength, and which is drawn from God, really. So my mindset was bulletproof on that. I'm saying to myself, I'm not the one failing. I'm going to fail if I don't make the move. But if I make the move and rely on God, yes, I know that. I'm going to just sit back and say, you know what, I'm not going to learn. I'm not going to put in the action that is required to just make it happen. No, I wasn't going to do that. I was going to do whatever that was possible and leave the rest to God, really. You know, I'm in deep waters, and I know that I can't swim that deep. I'm trying to say, so I know that I've got to let Him, you know, take me on that journey. You know, when I can rely on Him. Yeah,
but the thing is, you also got the education to know what a good deal is before you get into one, to help you out as well.
I see most folks that have done education, like you already know, there's so many folks that spend a lot of money on education that don't do that with it. You know what I mean? So
that's true. It's the action behind it.
That's what it is. That's what it is anyway. So it's more or less like it was more of, should I choose this or should I actually sink? You know, and I said to myself, you know what? I don't want to do. I set a goal that my first deal was going to be 10 million.
Wow.
I set a
That's
goal.
amazing.
I set a goal that my first deal was going to be about 10 million. You know, I was praying recklessly, my guy. Because I didn't know how it was going to happen. You know what I'm trying to say? Every single day I wake up like, damn, is this the reality, or am I just pulling out numbers from thin air and just thinking, 10 million sounds good, let's go for that. You know what I'm trying to say? But I knew that my goal was just to be able to do something that is beyond me, and for me to be able to take my faith to the next level, I needed to be in the mindset whereby I rely mostly on Him. You know, I I do have the guts to do so many things. Younger days, I've always had the guts to do whatever. I wasn't one of those that was afraid to just take a risk. If it was doable, I just literally have to not to think too much about it, to just jump in, just make that move more or less. So this was another opportunity for me to do this, but now I'm not doing it blindly or relying on myself. I was more or less like, you know what, now I understand who this girl is. You know, now I've tried so many things myself, and it hasn't taken me to the point where I would fly. I would actually soar the same way, the way I wanted. And I had the image of an eagle. An eagle, when an eagle is soaring, it does it with so much ease. And why God created an eagle differently. And when you look at the Bible, the way the Bible describes an eagle makes you wonder why it's different from every other bird. Why didn't you use a chicken, really? you never hear the Bible about chickens. You hear about the birds like eagles. You get what I'm trying to say? So I was more or less like, I should be able to get myself to that point where I could be on the same wavelength and could put myself out there where I know I'm not worried about what the day is going to provide for me. But I will be in a position where I can just, let go and just see what happens, And I'm being in the position where I had a supporting partner that made, that saw like, okay, this guy he's tried so many things. He's not going to the point where he wants to go. But now he's in a position where he's actually pushing to now break boundaries, and he's totally different from when I used to know. It's funny thing, I've been with my missus since, I think, 2000, we've been married since 2003. So we practically grew up together. So she saw me grow up from a boy to a man. So he more or less and grew into a matured man. You get what I'm trying to say? So she could see the differences. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because I always say, for things to happen and things to go good in a house, really, or for you to build a generational wealth, there has to be a strong woman, and you guys then create the generation, and then the wealth comes through. I'm trying to say. So, and if you got that person that's got the vision with you, or is already to see that same vision, it makes life easier. It's just like coming back home to hear all the nagging, making you, now you got all the problems that you're all facing, having to deal with challenges that you're facing, and then you get back home to have all the yapping. Man, you might, that's when you might turn into an animal. You get what I'm saying? But,
you want someone that can help you along your journey.
Yep. So it's kind of like how we got to this. And when this happened, it's been a process. It's been able to, this has been like a lot of investment into it. At the moment, we were able to secure the land just to cut the whole story.
Just tell the viewers about this deal, by the way. Just break it down.
Okay, it's a land that had no planning on it, and we secured an option with it. An option agreement is more or less like, okay, you've got this piece of land. Let's say, for instance, is 100K. Okay, sir, I'm going to buy this land off you for 100K, subject to me getting planning permission. And once I get that, I have the option to buy it at that price that we agreed for 100K. So more or less, that's the deal. So we have a contract of about 12 months, and so I've got him all locked in. And hopefully, the contract, and I do have a relationship with the vendor, which is quite important. So if anything is going wrong, or there's any stuff that you need to discuss with him, or there's something else that comes up, you can have a conversation. In fact, he's on my Christmas list. So I'm gonna,
nice.
be doing, I'm gonna be doing whatever it takes. Yeah, man, he's my guy now. I'm trying to say, because you never know what. In fact, we are one person away to our goal or the next contact or connection that we need. So you
100%,
never rub people the wrong way. Keep to what you say. If anything changes, let them know, and try to see whether there will be a resolution. There can be a resolution, and just we're all humans. We all have empathy, and we all understand. We all want a deal to be done. And my goal is to be able to create generational wealth. And with this now, we've got a plan for the property or the land. Had planning approved a couple of years back, about 12, 13 years ago, but he didn't just go ahead with it. So I was confident on picking it up and just going for something similar, just following the same footprints. But rather than having cluster apartments, I went for self-contained studio apartments. The self-contained studio apartments, because I studied the biggest or the best rather student accommodation operators. I saw what they were doing, so all I wanted to do was get the best bits, did my research, read about what people wanted to have on their units. So I thought about, make sure that the room is sizable. So most of my rooms the smallest one is about 18 square meters. Up to 24 square meters.
These are big studio rooms.
Yes, most definitely. So we are looking to have what's it called? We are looking to have gym. We are looking to have private dining as well, where they can invite friends. There's got a party. If they've got a party going on, they can just have it over there. Or they want maybe a cooking event, just to be able to show folks how to cook, or just, things that I'm looking to be running weekly or bi-weekly events where we can help them as well. So I found a few things that was wrong with all this, the Gen Zs, because I did a lot of research. Having teenagers myself, I've got a 16 and a 15-year-old. I know what the 16-year-old likes. I've got a niece that's in the university at the minute. She tells me about the accommodation, what she likes and what she doesn't like about the accommodation. So you kind of I'm picking and reading a lot of research that has already been done. I've been able to think, a gym, a cinema room, what's it called again? A games room, a study room.
Oh, wow.
In fact, there's something that I'm looking to do one of those rooms to turn into a studio where they can run their Instagram room, more or less, where they can run podcasts and all that kind of stuff now. So it's all professionally done, so that they wouldn't think of going anywhere else. Because I noticed that most of the time when the universities give them accommodation, after the first year they kick them out because they go bring the new batch in. So I want to be able to give them something that once they're in, they want to actually.
They don't want to leave.
They want to leave and stay to the end. You know what I'm trying to say? So that's my mindset behind this, and having seen what others have been doing, being able to research and see what folks like Anthony. I was fortunate enough to be on site when Anthony was building the first pack out. So it gave me that. In fact, I took a bit of sand from Anthony's building. That was for me to hold on and believe that this is going to happen for me. So I still got that in the back of my mind that, this is going to happen for me. You know what I mean? So it's
technically, because you've got approval and you're moving forward with the site. So.
We are hopefully next month we are looking to. They've given us a date for consideration. So I'm hoping that it gets approved on the day. But there's always delays with all this stuff. So I'm riding it. so far with the comments that I've seen on there, it's nothing that can't be solved. More or less, they just, okay, how can you, we want a strategy, like the water, Northern Water saying to me, we need a strategy to know how you're gonna, the rainwater that's gonna be collecting, how you're gonna be collecting that, the sockaway, all them kind of stuff. Now we're gonna just be able to go back and just show them the drainage strategy on how that can be avoided. Any flood can be avoided if there's any rainfall that is just more than normal. You got me? So I'm more of the gas. They said, in fact, they gave a condition. If they approve this is the condition to be able to show this documentation. So that's not.
Oh really? That was the actual.
Yeah, that's what they were proposing. So that's a good sign.
That's 100%.
Yeah, Middlesbrough Council saying a few things about the recycle bins and that. So that's a good sign. Just be able to get more recycle bins that's a good sign as well. So we've got that. We've got the.
Because honestly, like. I've known ever since talking to you, like before I also started getting to the idea of doing like large units as well myself.
Yeah.
But after talking to you, I was like, oh man, yeah, it makes sense to add like the studio rooms downstairs for people that live in the blocks to be able to use. Because then it makes them actually enjoy staying there a lot more.
Yes, and my idea behind this as well is that I've seen most ones that have been built out. They do have heating system, but not air conditioner.
Okay.
So I'm looking to do that. Add that in.
Oh wow.
So I'm looking to use as much solar energy as possible. So I'm trying to just incorporate the whole green thing, because at the end of the day, that's the way the world is going, and it's going to save me on the bills for running it anyway. So
I was going to say, like, wouldn't the air conditioning but
when you got there's something called the air vents. The air vents come in with the heating and also with the ACs as well. So you regulate it anyway. So when you think it's very hot, you put it on. When you think it's very cold, you run it. So everything is regulated by you. So you might have a couple of times where most of the time when the students are not they're out for lectures, you wouldn't have it on, would you? So it's the same way, just trying to just use them. They've got laundry rooms, I'm trying to incorporate everything that's going to be easy for me. Cleaning, I want to have cleaning in there as part of their rentals, because I know that many of them just don't like cleaning. I put my foot down to get my kids to clean. So I know that it might be something that will be easier for me at the same time, so I can easily, when you are getting new people on board, you can easily bring them on board without, or the changeover, because I'm looking to rent at most 51 weeks. So the changeover becomes easier. So I can clean bi-weekly. So I can, because I studied the ones that are out there and what they're doing. I'm thinking, that's why they're charging a bit more, because they do the cleaning for them. Because many of them are quite laid back. That's a better word.
Just getting students to the horror stories I've heard from friends that live on campus.
That's what I'm saying. So the cleaning of the bathrooms and all that, so it makes it easier, because I'm not just thinking of the communal spaces. I'm more or less thinking of going into their rooms and doing the cleaning. So they already know. So when you're signing their contract, you should expect that. And I believe they will jump on it, because at the end of the day, no one's got time for that. You know what I'm trying to say? So I want to be able to just create all that and help as much as possible. So my goal is to just make life easier, and at the same time get paid for having to solve a problem, because at the end of the day, if they've got something that takes a lot of their time, you might as well just take it off their plates and they can just focus on what they've come
Yeah,
to do.
and it ensures that your place will be fully booked out the
You know
minute
what I'm
it goes on.
So that's all I'm thinking ahead of time while I'm doing this. So it cements in my mind that this is already done. It's a done deal. So it's a done deal because the more I actually think of the problems ahead, it makes my life easier, not having to think, oh, where's the funds going to come from? No, I'm not thinking about that. I'm not thinking about the funds. I'm not thinking about all this. The same provider that has provided all this is going to provide the rest. So that's my mindset behind this. So that's more or less, that's it. That's it, really.
Okay, I was going to say, like, what would you say is the key takeaways that for someone starting out in development, what advice would you give them?
Okay, get someone that's already doing what you want to do. If you haven't got the money, find a way to get the money. Partner with a couple of people that have got the money, so you guys can put money together and form a company. So rather than you having to carry it all by yourself, you can do it with a couple of friends that are like-minded. So it's just a way to go. If you find anyone that you can bring something to the table, folks that don't want to learn, that want to pay to earn and learn, that's a way that you can go. You can go that route as well. So that when there's a will, there's a way. When there's a will, there's a way. So these are just ideas. If you got the money, or if you can bring your parents in. In fact, a lot of universities do charge you money for education that would still put you out there to go look for a job. So with this now, I'm in control of what I do. Although I'm still I'm working on another deal. Because after speaking to a couple of people, I'm like, wow, I'm shooting too low. I need to keep moving.
You know what? Talking about that, I need to send you over one that I found.
Yeah, man. Let's go through it, and then I'll see what the numbers are like. If it makes sense, then we can start discussing all the stuff. But that's the way I see life, really. Never let anything hold you back. In fact, once you say you can't, you can't. That's what it is, really.
Yeah, that's when you just stop and you give up and you can't move from there.
The brain actually records all this. Because once you say you can't, it gives you every reason. It gives you all the reasons. And when you meet that
same situation in the future, it'll just be like, oh, what did I do last time? Oh, I stopped. And then it's going to do the same thing again.
Rather than say you can't, I'm figuring it out. That's another way to just try to rephrase it. I'm figuring it out. So that gives you time to figure things out. You get what I'm trying to say? Because the brain starts looking for what to figure out. How can I get this done? But when you always say, no, I can't, it's not possible, man, you've already shot yourself in the foot. In fact, you just committed suicide. That's what it is. Not really shoot yourself in the foot. You committed suicide because really your brain shuts down, and gives you all the reasons why you cannot, and you will never be able to achieve that. Anyway, that's more or less the whole journey. So far, so good. Sometimes it gets to the point where you feel you have free time, but I'm looking at now having to create a webinar because I now need to start bringing more awareness to this. We got the challenge of raising funds, so I'm thinking I need to raise more funds. I need to be able to push myself, and really and truly, I'm doing stuff that I would never have thought of doing, and that's the way life is, really. If you don't put yourself out there, you would never figure out how to do it. In fact, whenever I'm in there, that's when my brain starts figuring out, okay, What do I need? What questions do I ask? Now you know specific questions to ask.
Yeah, and when you're looking to do something a lot harder, you tend to ask a lot better questions to the people around you.
Because you have a problem.
Yeah.
And a specific problem needs a specific solution and a specific answer. So you now start asking, it's not going to just be, oh, when I have a land, what do I do? No, you already have it now. So what am I going to do? You see, the questions are different now. What am I going to do? So now it's like, not when I have it. When I have it, no one wants to listen to that. You know what I'm trying to say?
Anything can happen. It could be any type of land. You don't know nothing.
No one knows what sort of land, whether it makes sense for you to even look at that land. But when you have something serious, now you start thinking. You found a land, now you got to look at. But I've got a different mindset. I have my why is deep. My why is too deep. That's why I'm moving on this level. But not to say that no one else can. In fact, I just believe that I'm moving on this because I just look at my time. My why is like, oh man, 40, 45, I can't be doing this. I've got a goal for, by the time I'm 50, I should have a minimum of 150 million in my pipeline. So I am actually trying to pull my hair out, whatever that is left. You know what I'm trying to say? So I am moving as hard as I can. So I'm putting it out there because I want to hold myself accountable. I don't want to like sit back, oh, no one knows about that. Okay, and I might just, maybe after
you're going to just push forward.
I want to push, and I want to do stuff that I know is beyond me. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I put myself out there, then I force solutions. I start attracting what I need. I start seeking what I need. So I just want to put myself out there and make things work. Make things work totally. So there's no going back.
Nah, 100%. I do want to respect your time because I know you said you were going to go at 1, and I'd love to have you on again.
No, it's a beautiful thing to just actually be able to be interviewed. I thought about the script. I said, nah, let's just run it. Let's just run it. It makes it easier for me to run it that way than having to, what question is it again? Then I have to dig deep. I just flow.
Oh no, to be honest, I would have asked you and just like made sure it was smooth as well. But having the flow when it's just going.
It's just easier for me. It's less headache because I always try to do webinars. But whenever I've got to put this, which one goes before that? Oh man, I just like, it takes me something that would have been maybe a couple of hours now, it takes me weeks.
Yeah.
But what I started doing now is putting a goal, putting a deadline. So I now start pushing to get to that deadline, because when there's no deadline, it's not a goal really. It's more or less like
it's just a dream.
It's just another dream that you want, and there are so many dreams on my list already. So I need to just get most of them out. Even if it doesn't go as planned, at least I've got it out there. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So now I'm more or less like I'm going to be doing more Instagram lives because I'm just thinking to myself, you know what? Just go off the cuff and just do what you want to do, man. Sometimes it's just easier that way than having to just get it all prepared. Oh, you want to say this at this time? Nah, man.
Yeah.
It's just too much.
Yeah. That is true, actually, because it just flows a lot better when it's live. It at first it'll take some time getting used to the camera, but once you're used to the camera, it's all good.
I realized that anyway, I know most of the time when we're growing up, right? Just to tell this, right? I was one of those ones that when they make a list of noisemakers, I'm always the top list. I make the list. Your boy makes number 1. You know what I'm saying? So I need to make number 1 in everything I do now. So if I got that capabilities of doing that, I should make number 1 in everything I do. So that's my attitude. If I can do that, that means I should be able to do whatever it takes. So if you can, and it's the same energy really. If you can use the same energy, just use it positively to do whatever goal that you want to achieve. Life is more or less like click, 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 and then you have it. You know what I'm saying? So,
man, just put yourself out there all the time.
All the time, bro. all the time. I've agreed with myself that I'll stop being behind the scenes and step in the limelight.
Nah, definitely.
And this is just me having to force myself out. And if I want to be out there, I've got to be able to do what it takes to just be out there. And that's my goal now, just to push and see how far I can push.
So before we end the podcast, I'd just like to ask, what's the goals for the next 12 months?
The goal for the next 12 months is to be able to secure the funding for the site, secure funding for the construction, have all the professionals. My team is almost tight at the minute. I've got various options with regards to construction. So I'm exploring what will work best for me. And so I'm going to explore before I make the decisions. But while I'm exploring, raise the funds, and I'm looking at other sites, and I'm looking at partners as well. I'm looking to those that have funds that are sitting around with inflation. If you have nothing to do with your money, you can talk. We can see what we can do. And I'm saying to myself, you know what? Just make sure that you do all that you can do and leave the rest to God. And that's the best I can do. I don't want to wake up any day and say to myself, I didn't achieve what I set out to achieve. And that's the way my mind is wired at the minute. And I know that I will keep on improving on it, because I've set myself up now not to fail. Not to fail. So more or less, I'm gonna be out there more, and I will do what it takes to raise the funds, get more deals. In fact, I've got several deals coming, and you can get that going. So anyway, that's about it for me. Yep.
Nah, honestly, it's been a pleasure having you on, man.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for coming on again.
Thanks for having me, my guy. And hopefully we should do more of this. Yeah.
Nah, 100%. Next one is going to be when you've secured everything for the site.
Hopefully, everything. Fingers crossed, everything crossed, and I'm hoping that everything works. Thank God, and I believe that it's going to work anyway. Yep.
Anyways, thanks for coming on, and take care, guys.
Alright, cheers.
Thanks for watching this episode, guys, and hope you took a lot of information from it and took a lot of key points that Joshua mentioned in this episode. And I'd really love it if you could support the show by subscribing to the podcast, liking the video, and leave a comment with anything that you took away from the podcast or something that you'd want me to answer up in future episodes. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the episode and enjoy the rest of your day, guys.